Hello there, welcome to this episode from Walk Africa Fun Facts channel, where the banking, finance and ICT sector in Somalia is highlighted. Please get subscribed for more future content. The banking sector is vital to any world economy. Its primary function is to safeguard depositors' assets and make loans to individuals and businesses. Banks are regulated by the federal government, and sometimes state governments, to try to keep them from taking on too much risk and imperiling the economy. Banking in Somalia is a lucrative sector to venture in as we progress with the third decade of the 21st century. About 10 commercial banks and 11 money transfer businesses, MTB, have been licensed by the Central Bank of Somalia, CBS. According to the IMF, at the end of September 2017, the commercial banks' total assets and credit to the private sector were about 4% and 1.3% of GDP, respectively. Nonetheless, banks' assets have continued to improve since 2015, and their capitalization remains broadly adequate. The loan-to-deposit ratio reached 40.1%, up from 33.3% in September 2016, and credit to the private sector increased to 31.2% as a share of total assets, from 24.8% in the previous year. Some of these private banks are a mixture of money transfer businesses and banking at the same time. Some examples of the mixture services of hawala and banking are Dahabshil Bank International, DBI, Salaam Bank and Amal Bank. Dahabshiil is one of the old money transfer companies in Somalia, and Salaam Bank is a sister organization of Hormuud Telecom. On the other hand, Premier Bank and International Bank of Somalia, IBS, are new financial institutions that are only offering banking services. These two banking institutions currently provide Master and Visa cards that consumers can use worldwide transactions. The majority of these financial institutions are headquartered in Mogadishu with branches in the regions. MTBs play a crucial role in providing financial services in Somalia. In 2017, MTBs provided trade finance amounting to about $2.1 billion. Due to this demand, money transfer businesses continue to dominate the formal and informal financial sector and facilitate the transfer of remittances from the Somali diaspora, donor resources, and foreign investments, and are flourishing. Despite the fact that Somali shillings (sosh) is not widely used for business transactions, CBS is responsible for regulating the dollarized transactions in the private financial institutions. In addition to the aid that the country receives due to lack of strong mechanism for local revenue collections, remittances remain the highly dependent income mainly for household consumption. As it is indicated in the Ministry of Planning report on aid flows in Somalia published on May 2019, the ODA to GDP ratio in 2018 was 27%. On the other hand, inflows of foreign direct investment, FDI, according to the preliminary report, are rising as is domestic revenue collected by the federal government. However, relative to GDP, their levels remain low at 5.5% and 2.6% respectively in 2018. In 2016, the federal government of Somalia has passed into law the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act, which was a critical legislation in improving financial sector confidence. Modern banking leverages on information and communication technologies, and the meeting of these two sectors is not a coincidence by any chance. The two sectors are interacting and changing how people relate with money in Somalia nowadays. As a matter of fact, Somalia's telecommunications sector boasts cutting-edge technologies, a mushrooming of wireless solutions and the lowest calling rates in the region, and one of the fastest-growing sectors in the economy. Private operators have emerged to meet the high demand for critical communications services. The sector now accounts for up to 11% of GDP, or around $1 million. The sector plays a significant role in rebuilding the Somali economy. Costs are generally lower than in other East African countries such as Djibouti and Ethiopia, and mobile penetration is greater than in Djibouti. Somalia's large international diaspora has contributed to the growth of the ICT sector, since Somalis abroad seek ways to stay in contact with their families. With mobile money transfer having changed the lives of people in a neighboring country like Kenya for over a decade now, the M-Pesa story, the Somalis have the opportunity to celebrate such now. There is an endless list to opportunities existing in the banking and financing sector, including the following areas: online payments processing and settlements, investments in long-term real estate financing, investments in risk management and audit services, independent ATM operators, investments in rural credit and microfinance services for agriculture, investments in pension funds management, investments in insurance services, investments in microfinance, savings and credit cooperatives, investments in insurance brokerage, and finally investments in fintech. With continuous brokerage for peace by countries like Kenya through their special envoys in the Horn of Africa, there is much hope for this country in the near future. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe for more like content.